So I find being a Jew right now super confusing. I've always purposefully not spoken about Israel as a Jew. Of course, I speak about Israel in my private life, but in my public life, I tend to not speak about Israel. Basically, because I grew up going to a Zionist school, I grew up being taught to love Israel and to raise money for Israel and to always support Israel no matter what. And as I got older, and the more I learned about Israel's colonial history, the more I felt a desire to keep myself more separate from Israel. I've been to Israel once in my life. I went on a birthright Israel trip. For those who don't know what that is, if you're 26 or under and you have never been to Israel and you're Jewish, there's an organization called Taglit who will pay for a free 10-day trip to Israel. So before I turned 26, I went on Taglit, I went on Birthright, and I had a very difficult time on this trip. I found it incredibly propagandist, and there was really no space whatsoever to have a conversation about Palestine. I tried to have conversations about it while I was there, and I was almost kicked off the trip. Basically, that was my first and last time in Israel. I tried to keep myself educated about the occupation in Palestine, about Israel's treatment of the Palestinian people. And in a way, I think that my desire to keep myself separate from Israel has somehow contributed to a disconnection to my Judaism. Ironically, I found a reconnection to my Judaism through Poland. Coming to Poland and now living in Poland, I felt a greater desire to explore my personal Jewish identity politic through a Polish context, through a Polish lens, through the history of my people here in Poland. And that is how I identify, that is how I have wanted to identify, and not through the lens of Israel. That's the choice that I've made. And thusly, I don't speak about Israel publicly. I don't offer my opinion publicly. I want to talk about being a Jew in Poland or being a Jew from Canada now living in Poland whose roots are in Poland. But now there is this war raging in Israel, and it's frightening. It feels very frightening to be a Jew. The majority of my family are very pro Israel. I have family who have moved to Israel and who now live there full time, who support Israel unequivocally, no matter what happens, no matter what they do. These are people who I love and care about and who are aware of my perspectives on things. And in making the decision to not speak about Israel, it has also been a decision to not publicly criticize Israel for the occupation, for its brutal treatment of Palestinian people. But of course, now that there is this war, and I'm seeing Israeli people being murdered as brutally as they are by Hamas, it's very difficult to know what to do. It's very complicated because I do feel some desire to say something about it as a Jew, but at the same time, it feels hypocritical as I have not been saying anything publicly about the deaths of Palestinian people. And I'm not entirely sure what I'm trying to communicate, other than I feel the need to communicate something, the need to not be hypocritical, the need to not get overly emotional, to not be propagandist, while at the same time to express that I feel fear. I feel fear for how this is going to affect Jews around the world. I feel fear for what Netanyahu and his dictatorial government is going to do, is already starting to do in Gaza. I feel they will commit total genocide and they will blame Hamas for starting it first. I don't fully know how to be as a Jewish person right now. And I guess I feel the need to communicate that. I had thought to just make another video as I've been making, but I don't know how to just make a regular video and put it out into the world about Poland and being Jewish because it feels like everything is changing. And I think that's what's terrifying. Everything's changing, and I don't know what this world is going to look like in the future for Jewish people, for Palestinian people. And it's scary. It's scary how many different people seem to be involved. Iran, Russia, America. How does this end? How does this stop? How does this stop peacefully when no leaders seem interested in peace? Anyways, that's all. That's all I want to say, I think, for now. I felt like I should say something.